Hello, my name's Paul Kempton. I'm the Terminal Manager with P&O here in Port Operations at Portsmouth. The video that you're about to see has been put together in the hope that it will help you to have a better understanding of the type of work that we do and will assist you in achieving some of the targets that we will be setting you during your time with us.
I am sailing home again, across the sea. I am sailing stormy waters to be near you, to be free. I am flying, I am flying like a bird across the sky. I am flying, passing high clouds to be near you, to be free. Can you hear me?
Spithead, the south coast of England, Portsmouth Harbour, one of the 5 busiest harbours in the world, possibly in the top 3 some might argue. Enormous ferries just like this one behind me are in and out of this waterway all day long, 365 days a year. And P&O ferries are one of the biggest players in the market. This video is all about customer care. It's for you, the new recruit, to learn what P&O have to teach you about treating the customers correctly. Because if you treat a customer correctly, they will come back time and time again. Get it right first time, you'll get it right consistently, and everyone will be happy. That's what you have to learn. And it's a good show.
I'm here now with Mark Clark, who's the port manager here, and he's been in this job for 7 years. And Mark, it must be quite a stressful position to oversee everything that goes on in the port. I mean, you look perfectly happy doing the job.
Yeah, I dye my hair regularly, but apart from that, I don't really suffer from stress. I tend to put that behind me. Our role is one of a frontline role, and very varied. Every day is different almost, and you really don't know what's around the corner.
How difficult is it having competition so close?
It's very difficult because the public can measure you against your competition right here and now in real time. So this year they may travel with us, but if they're seeing Brittany doing something that little bit different, or that little bit nicer, or that little bit cheaper, they'll be with Brittany next year.
As I understand it, even though P&O is a large organisation, you try to maintain a sort of family atmosphere.
I think that is one of the areas where we can try and make the difference. We like to keep people occupied. I mean, a typical example of that is entertainment in the summer. We know we're going to have long queues, it's our busiest time of the year. A lot of people go through here. To try and alleviate some of the stresses, travelling with kids screaming and shouting, we bring clowns and try and make the atmosphere a bit more relaxed and a bit more jolly.
So you actually have street entertainers entertaining the queues?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a marvellous idea. Has that been in position long?
We've been doing that for a couple of years. I mean, there's very little we can do here. The port's very small, high volumes in very short periods of time, and it just requires a bit of lateral thinking now and again from the staff and from the managers alike to keep an open mind and to listen to what everyone's saying.
For someone coming in to a job cold, brand new to it, I mean, what sort of training can they expect to get?
Well, the training they expect to get is it's a difficult one, because as a long-term employee or as someone coming to us for a career, the training progresses over a number of years. But for the people we have working for us in the summer recruits, they are here for a matter of 1, 2, 3 months. They have to learn our computer systems, customer care, and lots of other things. We're BSI approved, so we have procedures coming out of our ears. We're well covered in that respect, and it is an incredibly difficult task to do. We try and do most of it within 2 weeks, with the remainder being mentor training on the job.
So it's a tough 2 weeks.
It's a tough 2 weeks, fairly intensive, but I'm glad to say at the end of the 2 weeks most people stay with us.
Well, I'm here now at the customer service desk, and this is Janan. Hi, Janan.
Hi.
What's your impression of customer services? What do they teach you at P&O? Customer always comes first, presumably?
Normally, yes. Customer always comes first, no matter what sort of problem they've got. The customer is always right. The customer comes first. That's what we provide, a customer service.
Now, obviously, you're bilingual. That must help in the job.
A lot, yes. I speak 3 languages.
Is it more difficult to deal with, for instance, an irate Spanish person who wants to get home, or an irate English person? Is there any difference?
Not really, no. They are more or less the same. They want the same service. We provide the same service.
But how do you keep your cool?
Well, you've got to put yourself in the passenger situation and try to solve the problem, whatever problem it is, as best as you can, and make the passenger sort of come back to us more and more time.
Whether he's turned up or not. And if he does, then you're going to have to come back here, get your ticket taken out.
Anyway, we'll see him.
Well, do you want me to leave it like that? Do you want to wait for him to see
He ain't
him?
turned up. Yeah, he ain't turned up. He's been off work.
We're now in Peninsula House, which is the headquarters of P&O Portsmouth, and I'm delighted to be talking to Captain Edward Ward, who's the Fleet Operations Director. Tell me the distinction between P&O Portsmouth and P&O as the global operations.
P&O Portsmouth is part of the P&O Global Company. The company has several divisions. P&O European Ferries is one of those divisions, and P&O Portsmouth is a member of that division.
Right. Is that tricky for people coming in to know instantly?
The easiest analogy I can make is a cartwheel, where you have P&O SNCO, that's P&O Steam Navigation, as the parent at the centre of the hub. Then round the edge of the wheel you have the various divisions, of which P&O European Ferries is one. We have P&O Ned Lloyd as another, we have P&O Stena as another element, although they're not directly related to the company. So you have all the companies round the edge of the cartwheel all feeding back into the centre. It's quite a difficult concept for people to grasp from the outside, but it works very well.
Now, Captain Ward, what would you say is the starting point for anyone concerned with customer care? Well, where does it start for you?
Where does it start for me? It starts for me in that we have to provide the best possible ships, and by that I mean operationally possible, operationally the best. They have to be the safe ships, they have to be operated to the highest possible standards. Only when we have that baseline can we begin to offer the passengers the service that comes from that kind of a standard.
Well, I'm here now with Captain John Williams. We've been hearing how it's very important that everything is right on the ship. I mean, and that's your responsibility at the end of the day, even though you might not do everything yourself.
Well, I certainly don't do everything myself. I'm supported by, a strong team, departmentalised to some extent, but all driving at the same objectives. If the ship isn't right, then we don't have a product. And yes, certainly one of my main objectives is making sure that the service we offer is of the highest order. There are conflicting interests, as I'm sure you know. The weather from time to time conspires against us, and there are times when it is that much more difficult for my team to provide the level of service we aspire to. But by and large we succeed.
Is it true that the passengers generally understand bad weather because they can see it, but other sorts of delays and problems that they're not more capable of understanding?
Well, it's hard to generalise. Something like weather, which is tangible, which affects us all. Yes, the majority of people understand the occasions when, for one reason or another, we can't perhaps offer full services. It doesn't happen very often on these ships. They're large enough, they're big enough, they're comfortable enough for the weather not to interfere very often. As far as operational matters are concerned, we don't allow service aspects of the operation, if you like, to interfere with a safe operation on the bridge. Whatever level of service we aspire to, I'm not saying it's secondary, but my first priority and that of all the crew here, as on an aircraft or any other transport medium, is the safety of these people.
And so getting from A to B on time and in a perfectly safe manner?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
How difficult is it to juggle the two roles, though, if you also have to be responsible for what goes on below deck?
Well, it comes from years of experience throughout the three departments that I head up. Generally speaking, for 95% of the time, they're perfectly compatible.
That's good. We've also heard that it's the tip of the iceberg what the passenger actually notices on the ship, but it goes much, much deeper, the things that you prepare. And your whole crew is geared towards preparing the ship from top to bottom?
Yes, I mean, we're at the moment in the middle of something we do daily on the bridge, which is to test all the safety, navigational, steering systems that we're going to need when we leave Portsmouth again. The fact that we've only stopped using most of this equipment 20 minutes ago doesn't obviate the need to make sure that everything's right for the next voyage.
Okay, you want that lifted?
Dean, one of the inward swap bodies coming off has a driver waiting for collection. We'll send him down. Vic will let the stevedore know which one it is, but can you do it only when you can fit it in without slowing the turn down?
I'm here now with Jeff Clifford, and he's the loading supervisor. Jeff is a bit like a giant jigsaw, isn't it? Getting everything off the
very
quay
good
side.
description, yeah.
Yeah. Now tell me, people have their first experience of customer care at the front desk, if you like, at the ticketing office.
They do, yes.
But it's important that the message is then carried on, isn't it, when they're queuing?
It is, yeah. They give us a lot of information when they check in, either as a foot passenger or as a vehicle passenger, which if we fail to pass on as a team to those others working on the quayside or in the operation, then we can let them down.
So teamwork, in essence, is the key, isn't it?
Teamwork and good communication between the departments and between all of those working in the operation to load or unload the ferries. Yeah.
Is there any sort of feeling that you're outside in the wind and the rain and the ones are inside in the dry and the warm, that never the twain shall meet, or do they actually?
Sometimes they experience the conditions on the quayside as well, and I guess when they do, they're quite pleased that they do work inside. It's quite an exacting job out here in the conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
Visibility impairs safety sometimes, especially at night when you have strong wind and rain. Yeah.
And so there's a great difference between nighttime loadings and daytime loadings.
There is. I find this a completely different operation at night. It's much more stressful, much more demanding. It seems sometimes as though it's a different place altogether. Yeah.
It must seem quite daunting for the new people coming in suddenly to be faced with 35 trucks queuing up ready and 600 foot passengers.
Yes, it is. I think they can take a long time to get used to it. And I would prefer people to be honest with themselves and with everybody else and say, I'm really not sure what I'm doing. Yeah, it's quite a big operation down here. It's a vast area of land that we're working on. And I think it takes several months to become happy with your surroundings and really understand the operation.
So it's important, if you're not sure, to say, look, tell me what I should be doing.
Yes, and some people in fact are honest enough to say that and say, I'm really not sure what I'm doing. I think that I need more training.
When was that?
Eh? What today?
Express was supposed to go at 3 o'clock.
Headwinds and headwinds and we're going against the tide, we were told.
I'm here now with Paul Kempton. Paul is the terminal manager at P&O. Paul, describe your responsibilities. It's quite a wide area, isn't it?
It is quite a wide area. My main responsibilities focus around the areas of recruitment, induction training, make sure that training is ongoing, and first and foremost to achieve the end product of delivering the right levels of customer service that we say that we want to deliver.
We know that customer care is paramount, but your philosophy is that every single person in the team has a choice to
Without any shadow of a doubt. It's everything is down to choice. If you choose to get out of bed in the morning and come to work, that's a positive choice. If you choose to have the right approach to your day, rather than be miserable, that's a positive choice, and you can pass that on to the customer in your dealings with them. If you choose to be in the right frame of mind, if you choose to want to deliver good service rather than go to the other extreme, it's a positive choice that we all make, and we make those choices consciously day in day out.
The end product, obviously, is the ship and the sailing, but without your people here on the port side, you don't get there, do you?
Absolutely. We have to go through various processes in order to get people onto the ship and enjoy the end product, so to speak. There are statutory requirements that come into play, but as I say, the main focus from our point of view is in terms of the service that we deliver direct to the customer. We're very conscious of the fact that our role is very much customer facing on a day in, day out basis, and we have to deal with people's requirements, their expectations of us. We have to make sure that we're delivering value for money, and in fact I think we take it a stage further where we're looking to anticipate customers' needs before possibly the customer even knows that they have them.
That's the trickiest part, isn't it?
Hello. I've come to meet somebody from the Pride of Bilbao tonight, and I gather she's due in at about 4:15, is that right?
Okay, it would usually be coming in at 4:30, but it's actually delayed. It arrived late.
How much is it delayed?
It's actually due in tomorrow morning at around 10 o'clock now.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? What do you suggest I do? I mean, I live in Southampton. Are you telling me? You know?
Okay. The only thing that I can really suggest for you is to obviously go home. That's the information that we've got at the moment, that it's coming in at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right, okay. Now, if I get here tomorrow morning at 9:30
yeah.
and find that you've put it back till 2 o'clock.
Okay. Our office here is open until 11:30 this evening,
right.
So you're quite welcome to ring us here.
Right, have you got the number?
I've got the number.
I'm here at the front line now of customer care operations at P&O Portsmouth. It's their reception inside the terminal building, and I'm with Alex Fernandez, the Port Services Supervisor. Alex, how important is training to give your team the information they need to do their job properly?
Training is always very important, and we try to keep it ongoing to keep our customer service at a high degree.
When you've got delays and there are cars and lorries backed up to the hilt outside and the customers coming in and demanding information, that must be an incredibly testing time for you and your team.
It is, but we always try and keep all of our staff and the passengers informed as much as we can as to the latest information that we get from the ships.
So there is good feedback of information then? You know the times, how long the delays are going to be?
Yeah, we always are well informed from the ships and from our managers down on the quay, and we then relay it onto our staff and our passengers. And that number there is the actual cabin number. Make sure that you're all together when you start boarding. We should be at about 11 o'clock through door number 2, which is the
When do we board?
about 11 o'clock.
Customer care sort of port side, that's obviously an important issue too, isn't it?
It's an important issue, and it's doubly important because the port side is the first experience the passenger has of P&O. When he comes to the check-in booth, at that point he believes that P&O take over responsibility for his journey. If he has a bad experience at the check-in booth, he will be coloured from that point on in his opinion, and he will judge everything else he sees more harshly. So the first person who says hello to that passenger begins to create the experience.
So that tiny cog in the whole P&O wheel is very, very important.
It's certainly far more important than my position up here in terms of the passenger's experience, because I don't see the passengers on a day-to-day basis. I don't, unfortunately, get to meet the passengers, not until something's gone wrong. But the person there will be the person who says hello to them on the first day of their holiday or whatever, and that is far more important to the passenger than the work that we have done in this department, and indeed in many areas of this compartment, to put together the package he sees.
How carefully is the induction training planned to give new people a real feel for the job?
It's very, very well organised by our terminal manager. He takes them with a colleague for an in-depth, at least 2 weeks initially, and they come across all the basic training. There's a one-to-one training with other members of staff. Unfortunately, for many who join in March, it's not the disruption season, if you like. It's not the height of the summer season where if we are going to have problems, then it's a massive problem we've got to deal with rather than a minor problem we get in the earlier part of the year when we're not quite so busy.
So problems can be seasonal problems?
I think we get, if you're going to have a problem, and the problems occur in the summer, it's on a much larger scale, whereas in the earlier part of the year you're probably dealing with disruptions due to bad weather, and people accept that bad weather cannot be avoided and are more understanding rather than breakdowns and other kinds of problems.
Now I understand that when there's big queues of people these days, they've got clowns out and jugglers and entertainers. I mean, do you ever have to put a coat on and get out there with a few balls down?
No, I'll leave the balls in the people's court. What we've done, yes, we have the clowns. It's very good for the children there. We try and be proactive in that way. We've also had bands as well. We had a pipe band the year before last, and the local Portsmouth brass band playing in the evenings, and it takes people's minds off the other problems that are occurring.
To last week, and I don't make any more parties because we had a very nasty accident. I made this little girl, what's your name? How old are you? 7. Oh, she's about the same age as you, and I made this great big party hat, great big load of balloons, put it all around her head. It's not funny, and it went bang and it blew her ears off.
Oh, that's not very good, is it?
No, don't laugh, because I said I was sorry and she couldn't hear me.
And then do you know what they did?
What did they do then, Crazy?
They then sewed on an ear. It was a pig's ear. And no, you may say, but it worked. And then when they went to the hospital to check the sound, they said, is it all right? And do you know what she said? It's all right, but there's just a bit of crackling.
This building behind us, Paul, it was the activity centre, wasn't it, in the rushes of the summer?
It certainly was, and continues to be so. We made good use of it during the summer. It was a good acquisition for us. It was the area that we're in at the moment. We identified as an area where we had problems in terms of we had people sat waiting for things to happen, and we identified that we needed to give people something to divert their attention. And particularly when you're dealing with families, as we more often than not do in the summer, if you can keep the children occupied and happy, then you can start to reduce the stress of the situation. And again, it comes from the point of view of customer care. It's a responsibility that we have.
This entertaining, sort of when they're in the queues, it's an innovative idea. Where did you get your inspiration from to come up with that?
Having attended a seminar, the subjects being motivation, and as I say, it all goes down to, as I said previously, down to the choice thing. We identified that what we needed to do was maybe to not take things too seriously and create a lighter, more cheerful type of atmosphere, something that actually pans out to the passengers, so they sort of buy into that concept and they can see that, okay, we have perhaps a difficult situation, a situation that isn't actually ideal, but if we try and make the best of it and introduce some humour and entertain the children, then we're some way down the line to making that difficult situation a more improved one.
Is it difficult doing this job, day in, day out? Stressful?
It can be quite stressful, but it can also be very enjoyable.
Nice when the sun's shining and it's all running to time.
No. The nature of the job is dealing with people. And most of us are here because we like doing that sort of thing. So on the whole, the job's good until you get disruptions. And then you get the people who are strippy.
But explain to me then, doctors, receptionists, who, in a slightly different way, have to deal with people, and yet they hate people. Now, why is that?
I don't think they do hate people, actually. I think they get stressed themselves doing the job they're doing. Yeah. They're dealing with people who are demanding something yesterday, and it's quite stressful doing that. And you just have to learn to cope with that.
Do they give good training here? Is that the idea that they train you
I think
for every situation?
I think yeah, and I think they employ the sort of people who are going to deal with people well anyway. Travelling is a very stressful thing. People get stressed very easily when they're travelling, and you've only got to have the slightest upset, and they take it out on the person behind the desk, and you have to learn to cope with that. You put yourself in other people's positions and think how you would react if you were that side. Yeah, basically, and that's how you treat people.
So what do they think? A nice smile and a helpful manner then?
You don't always want to smile because people don't always want to see you smile. Actually, if they're really angry, they don't like to see you smile all the time. No, you've got to be sympathetic, but you don't always have to smile because they can put their backs up. So you just have to judge by the situation.
How important then is customer care? Presumably that's the paramount message, is it?
Well, it is the paramount message. Customer care is the number one these days. We all compete very strongly on price. Certainly in Portsmouth we compete very strongly on price down towards the tunnel, where a lot of people are going these days. There, we can't compete on price, so we have to compete on service. We are looking for ways to constantly improve our customer service through the family approach, if you like, to customers, through entertaining, through extra value to the product we have.
Have you had feedback from the travellers, the passengers?
We have, yeah. We've had passengers in tears of joy, would you believe. We had an occasion where we had a woman come down from Scotland with her family, pulling her hair out, stressful journey, ridiculous amount of time it took her. She got here, we had a pipe band playing on this particular occasion, and she requested a song or a piece of music we were able to play, and she was in tears. She thought it was fantastic. Made her holiday. So
tears of joy at P&O.
Absolutely.
The people who come to work for you, the trainees, are going to be bombarded with information. You must do this, you must not do that, there's 7 rules to follow in this procedure. If there was one sentence to encapsulate what you're trying to get across to them in their first couple of weeks at P&O Portsmouth, what would that be?
Difficult to put it into one sentence. I think training is the most fundamental thing. Training is crucially important. Without the right level of recruitment and training, then we don't have the basics to work with, and then we can implement our own training ideas. It's difficult to put it into one sentence. I think in the very early stages it would be don't panic, take it easy. We've been doing what we do for a long time. We're pretty good at what we do. We're hopefully getting better, and the idea would be for us to point you in the right direction. We don't put people out there until we feel that they're ready to actually cope with some of the things that will be thrown at them during the course of a busy summer season.
So that's customer service in a nutshell. It's a lot to take in possibly in a short introductory video, but nevertheless we hope you've learned something about the way P&O operate their customer services policy from watching this tape. It's difficult because you have lots and lots to take in when you first join the company, but just bear in mind one tiny thing: the customer comes first. Thanks for watching.